Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Great Expectations. Chapter 7, Great Expectations. I had been apprenticed to Joe for almost 4 years when Mr. Jaggers appeared at our door. I recognized him immediately as the man Estelle and I had met on the stairs at Miss Havisham's years before. There was no mistaking those sharp, suspicious eyes and bushy black eyebrows. He spoke with great authority. I have reason to believe I am facing the blacksmith, Joseph Gargery, and his apprentice, Pip. Quite right, sir, answered Joe. My name is Jaggers, and I'm a lawyer in London sent to you by one of my clients. Joe was impressed by the grandeur of the speech, and he led the way into the parlor. I followed, snatching off the dust covers from a table, a chair, and the sofa. Mr. Jaggers took the chair by the table and looked sternly at Joe, began to speak. I am here with an offer to relieve you of your apprenticeship, Pip. It is to his good. Would you demand to be paid to let him go? No, I want nothing, and I wouldn't want to stand in Pip's way, Joe quickly replied. Jaggers turned to me. My instructions are to inform you that eventually you will come into property and money. The person from these riches will wants you to be ready and able to use them. Therefore, this person wishes you to be educated and brought up as a gentleman, with great expectations of wealth. I caught my breath. Here was my dream come true. Miss Havisham was going to make my wild fancy a reality. Now, Mr. Pip, continued Jaggers, there are conditions. First, this person wishes to always bear the name of Pip. Second, the name of your benefactor will remain a secret until this person chooses to reveal it. If you have a suspicion who this person is, maybe you are not to hint at it, but keep silent. Is that clear? I nodded. Do you accept? I nodded again and assured Mr. Jaggers that the conditions were clear and that I would abide by them. Miss Jaggers let a few minutes pass to signify how important his last words had been. Then he aroused himself. Now, as to the arrangements, I have said that you are great expectations for your future, but for the present, a very handsome sum of money has already been provided for you. It will be more than enough for your education and living expenses. This money will be handled by me on your behalf, so consider me your guardian. When I tried to thank him, he held up his hand. No, thanks. I am being paid very well for my services. Now listen closely to my suggestions. You are to come to London immediately after purchasing some suitable clothes. There you will lodge with one Herbert Pocket, a young gentleman of your age. Perhaps you would pick up some of the habits and manners of a gentleman from him, and I suggest his father as your tutor. What do you say to all this? Yes, of course, Mr. Jaggers. Whatever you think best, I said in a rush. I've heard of the Pockets, for they are related to Miss Havisham. Mr. Jaggers' face became stone-like. Yes, I believe that is so. Now here is some money for the clothes and the journey. He counted out 20 guineas on the table, and then added his business card to the money. Then he said goodbye and was gone. Joe and I continued to sit on the sofa. Biddy found us here, as there are still as two statues. But Joe came to a sentence and poured out the story of my good fortune to her. Then ran into the kitchen to try to make my sister understand what had happened. Left alone, Biddy shook my hand heartily, and then said quietly, So one dream is coming true, Pip. I wonder if your others will too. I knew that she referred to my love for Estella, but I also knew she thought Estella proud and unworthy, so I only said, Who knows? My sister's mind was now so weak that we were never able to make her understand what had happened. She smiled and nodded, pleased at the extra attention she was getting. Early the next morning, I went to the shop of Mr. Trabb, the tailor in our village. When his boy told me the tailor was still at breakfast in his apartment behind the shop, I waited impatiently until he called me to his table. He did not think it was worth his while to interrupt his his meal to come out to me, nor did he offer me anything as I stood before him. Mr. Trabb, I began as he went on eating, I have come into some money. The tailor stiffened. He put down his buttered roll, wiped his fingers, and got up from his chair. His eyes widened as I took some guineas from my pocket and explained, I am leaving soon for London, and I want a fashionable suit to wear on the journey. Mr. Trabb swept me into a shop and started a flurry of activity. His boy was over to lift various bolts of cloth from the shelves. Mr. Trabb then unfurled each one, praising them all to me. With his assistance, I selected a cloth fit for a young gentleman. I stood still as he measured me, all the while assuring me that my proportions would make any suit look distinguished. He even opened the door for himself when I left. This, then, was my first experience with the enormous power of money. When the suit was ready, I wore it to Miss Havisham's to say goodbye. She told me she knew of my good fortune from Mr. Jaggers, and she wished me well. And then she waved me out with her cane. I wanted to thank her, but I remembered Mr. Jaggers' conditions and did not reveal that I believed her to be my benefactor. Her final words to me were, Goodbye, Pip. You always keep the name of Pip, you know. I nodded, waved, and left. As the day neared for my departure, Joe grew more and more solemn. Finally said, It's not my apprentice that's being took from me, but a little child that sat with me many a night by the fire, that's watched me many a day and night at the forge. I turned away in tears, for I was so eager to leave, so eager for my great expectations to become a reality, that I had forgotten my dearest friend, Joe. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.